What's up, y'all? This is Ty, and as promised, I am finally here to review The Godfather of Harlem, which is a crime drama that airs on the Epix network. Now, I know what you're saying, Ty, who has the Epix network? Because I don't know too many people that have it. But I'm telling you, you need to go out and get the Epix network so you can see this show because the show is really, really good. The Godfather of Harlem stars the one and only Academy Award-winning actor Mr. Forrest Whitaker as Bumpy Johnson. Now, I know what you're saying, Ty, who's Bumpy Johnson? Well, I'm going to tell you because Bumpy Johnson is a real person if y'all don't know. Bumpy Johnson was a mob boss, a beloved community hero. He was loved by his community in Harlem, New York. He was, like I said, a mob boss, a bookkeeper, a drug dealer, a gangster, a made man. He had ties to mobster Lucky Luciano. He had some connections to the Genovese crime family. He was it. And this was back in the 30s, the 40s, and I believe the 50s and 60s. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do your research. Google it if I'm saying something wrong. But he was infamous. He was beloved. He was beloved and hated at the same time. He was despised. Like I said, he was a family man. He was about the people, but he was also a drug dealer and a gangster. And that's what this show shows. In its portrayal of him in his life, and it's loosely based because some things, they have to dramatize. And I say to myself, I wonder what they dramatized and what really didn't happen. And I found myself throughout this as I watched about 5 episodes. I watched 5 episodes. I was Googling after each episode to see which characters were real and which ones were made up and, stuff like that. But Bumpy Johnson, this is not the first time that his likeness has been portrayed on TV or film. I believe in 1984, the movie The Cotton Club, Lawrence Fishburne played a Bumpy Johnson-like character, Mr. Bumpy Rhodes, which is based on Bumpy Jones. And then Lawrence Fishburne played him again in the 1997 movie Hoodlum. Y'all remember that movie? And in 2007, Bumpy Johnson was portrayed by Clarence Williams III in American Gangster. Now, the American Gangster was about the life of, what was his name? Frank Lucas. And Frank Lucas was used to work for Bumpy Johnson. And so they had Bumpy Johnson in the beginning of that film. Now, I was told that this show, The Godfather of Harlem, is the prequel to American Gangster. Now, remember American Gangster was a lot of controversy because a lot of people said that Frank Lucas was not that connected to and wasn't that much in control and all that power like he claimed he was, and he wasn't a boss the way Bumpy Johnson is. Anyway, this ain't about Frank Lucas. This is about Bumpy Johnson. And like I said, this show they're telling me is a prequel to American Gangster. And it's funny because I believe that's true because the first episode of this show was directed by Ridley Scott, who also directed American Gangster, which starred Denzel Washington as Frank Lucas. Yeah, all right. So the show starts, I believe it's 1963. This is, Bumpy has been in prison for 10 years. He's been in the big house. He just got out of Alcatraz. And he is trying to regain his life. He's trying to get back what was his. We see him come home to his family. He has a beautiful wife, a young daughter. Like I said, the community loves him. We see him being embraced. People are asking him for favors. He just got out and they're already asking him for favors. But that's the family side to him. But then we see the criminal side. The gangsters are letting him know what's happening, what's going on. You see, since he's been away, he lost control of Harlem. And also, Harlem is not what it used to be. Now he's seeing that, it's run down and it's looking like the set of Thriller because you got all these drug zombies walking around. He's like, what's going on here? He's not liking this at all. And he has no control. The Italian mobsters, I believe, run it. And his nemesis, Vincent Chin has taken over. So he's trying to regain control. And the problem is Chin doesn't want him to have control because Chin is enjoying running Harlem and running the underworld of Harlem. So the show pretty much shows that. But now, the acting, I'm telling you, the acting is great. Let me talk about some of the other cast members we have on the show. We have Giancarlo Esposito, who's a fine, awesome actor, great actor. I love him in damn near everything that he does. And he's playing another well-known figure, the late, great Adam Clayton Powell, who was also beloved in Harlem. And he was Adam Clayton Powell was the pastor of the historical Abyssinian Baptist Church in Harlem, and he was a well-known politician, congressman, and all that good stuff. So we see his relationship with Bumpy. We also see that Bumpy has a relationship with an actor. What's his name? Nigel Thatch, I believe. He's playing Malcolm X. Now, we know who Malcolm X is, part of the Nation of Islam, black leader. And we learn in this show that Bumpy knew him before he was Malcolm X. And they have a love-hate relationship because Malcolm X is all about cleaning up the neighborhood and bringing power to the people. Bumpy wants that as well, but Bumpy is selling drugs and in this crime, which Malcolm believes is hurting the community. And he's saying, how can you do this and think you're helping the community when you're actually hurting? And, Bumpy and Malcolm, like I said, they're bumping heads because Bumpy feels like his way is the right way and Malcolm feels a different way. And one of the great scenes I liked was in, I believe, one of the episodes we see him and Malcolm teaming up. And Malcolm is helping clean up areas that were infested with drugs and infested by the mob. And Malcolm has his Nation of Islam men helping clean that up. And the combination of them two, and then Bumpy has the muscle and the guns to protect them. And we see that little clash between them and mobster Vincent Gigante, who is Vincent the Chin. Now, Vincent the Chin is played by another awesome actor. I'm going to mess his name up because I always do. His name is Vincent D'Onofrio. Now, y'all know him because he's a great actor. He was in Daredevil. He played the villain in Daredevil. He was the star of Law and Order: Criminal Intent. And there was a movie he did with 50 Cent that I believe 50 Cent was in it too, that I really enjoyed. This guy, I like everything he does too. So I'm saying we got some fine acting in here. Now, Vincent is a menace, and he wants Bumpy dead. He wants to remain in control, but he just can't kill Bumpy, and he can't do this, so he does things by, like, trying to set him up and get him framed by the police, because there's crooked cops in here, there's crooked politicians. It's just, what else is new? Same. The way some things never change, huh? It's crazy. And, like I said, he hates Bumpy. He wants him out, but he can't do anything because Bumpy is connected to the mob, because Bumpy did 10 years in Alcatraz, and he didn't snitch, and he did a bid, and he protected the crime family, the Genovese crime family, if I'm correct. So he's protected, and we see that, when he meets up with, the big bosses. So he's a made man. He cannot be touched. Now, there's a lot of conflicts going on in here. We have... Chin has a daughter, and this is the funny part right here. Chin has a daughter named Stella Gigante, and Stella Gigante is in love with this aspiring singer, Teddy. Now, here's the crazy thing, y'all. Teddy is black, and Stella, of course, she's, Italian mobster, white, and she's the daughter of this mobster, and this mobster hates blacks. He don't want no black in his family. And he is Bumpy's nemesis. Now, Bumpy gets a request from Teddy's mother to help Teddy and try to stop Teddy from getting in this relationship with Stella. And this Stella and Teddy relationship is crazy because they do love each other, but this is just not the right time period because this is the 60s, and that interracial thing was like, that was a really big deal then. And plus, your girl's father is a mobster. And so we see, little manipulation. And so there's an episode, I'm not going to give too much away, but there is a episode where Bumpy's been tasked to help this young man. And, they got to send him away because this is dangerous, because stupid Teddy and Stella done stole some of the product from Gigante. I don't know why you would do that, especially black man. What's wrong with you, black man, in his 60s? This is a mobster. So, Teddy got to go away. And there's just so many different dynamics. And we see throughout these 5 episodes, we see Chin and Bumpy going at each other, and every time you think one got one up on the other, something else occurs. He's framing Bumpy, Bumpy's coming out of it, just all types of things. Also, we see that Bumpy's home life, he has this beautiful wife, Mamie, I believe that's her name, beautiful daughter, and there's a catch. The little girl is not his daughter, she's actually his granddaughter, because his grown daughter is strung out on drugs. His grown daughter is strung out on drugs, and they took the child. Him and his wife took the child and raised her as their own. But the problem is, they did not tell this little girl that she is not there, that they're actually her grandparents and not her actual parents. So there's some drama in that. Let's see. The action is great in this show. There's lots of action. There's lots of drama. The pacing is good. The dynamics is good. Because like I said, there's so many different dynamics. We see Bumpy, how he is at home, how he is with his wife, how he is with his little daughter. We see him in one scene eating ice cream and then shooting at people and cutting people's throats in the next scene. So like I said, he's a family man, but he's a menace. And then when we learn of his grown daughter, whose child that actually is, she's strung out on drugs. She's causing him all types of problems. And to her, he was an awful father. Now, let me tell you, they're living good. They're living like the Jeffersons up in a deluxe apartment in the sky. They're living good. But to her, the childhood was bad because I guess he was lacking in areas. While he was out there hustling and making money and doing all this crime and all this stuff, he was lacking for her, because now she's strung out on drugs. And that was amazing how he's still okay with selling drugs, although his daughter is strung out. She is strung out. I like how they intertwine all these historical figures and legends in here. There's an episode where we learn of Cassius Clay, who is, the late, great Muhammad Ali, and his dealings with the Nation of Islam, and how he first became, how he was a part of the Nation of Islam, and there was a threat to out him, because at that time you couldn't say you were Muslim or down with the Nation of Islam and be this American athlete. So there's an episode that tackles that. There's episodes that tackle the politics. There's episodes that tackle the racism, the inequality, police brutality. There's a scene where Bumpy's daughter she's stealing from a store, and she gets raped by one of the guards, and that causes a big riot. And there we see the dynamics between Malcolm X and Pastor Adam Clayton Powell. And that's a really good scene because these two hate each other. Like I said, there's a lot of, they all have a common goal, but they have different ways of going about it and how they want to handle it. Now, Pastor Powell is a Christian and Malcolm X is a Muslim. So they have different beliefs and different ways of doing things. But when I tell you this show is really good, they just do things so well on here. I am really enjoying it. And let me see some other highlights I want to go to. Excuse me, y'all. There's a character in here. Oh boy, that Bumpy uses when he's interrogating people or punishing people for doing something that he doesn't like, or when they piss him off. And that character's name is Big D Buster. Big D Buster. Yes. And that D don't stand for dynamite. That was corny. But you know what the D stand for. Yeah. And I'm telling you, the scenes with Big D Buster, woo! crazy. I was saying to myself, where did they find this actor to do this? I was intimidated just looking at him interrogate the guy. When they said, bring in D, Big D Buster, I was like, oh, dad, what is he about to do? And when he did what he did, they showed him in 2 episodes so far that I've seen. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is crazy. So anyway, it's a really good show. I think you should check it out. Oh, let me talk about the soundtrack. The soundtrack is great. The soundtrack is dope. Oh, wait, no, let me be hip. The soundtrack is lit. That's what the kids say, right? The soundtrack. You know what? Let me act my age. I say dope. That's the era I'm from. The soundtrack is dope. Swiss Beats has done the soundtrack. The theme song is Swiss Beats, Rick Ross, and DMX. But when they play the theme song on the show, DMX is not in that because his verses are a little too rough. But if you watch the video, DMX is in the video. But his verses are crazy. So in a nutshell, the music is good. I like how, although this is the 60s, they have put in some hip-hop music that gives it that current gritty feel. I like the pacing. I like the direction of the show. It keeps me on the edge of my seat. And it makes me keep tuning in week after week. I'm really enjoying the show, and I'm curious as to how long this is going to run. And, because I know that Bumpy did die in the 60s as well. So, I'm curious what they're going to do with this. And like I said earlier, how much of this is made up and how much is actually accurate. Like some of the dynamics between the people is very interesting. Very interesting. So I'm telling you, you need to check out Godfather of Harlem. Tell me your thoughts. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And again, thank you for watching my videos, especially that last video for Greenleaf, the mid-season finale. You guys are really enjoying that. Y'all still tuning into that. You're still watching that. But I got other videos. Y'all can show me some love on these other videos. So again, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. And that's it for now. Be blessed.